The point is that Fever Dreams is very literally, it does everything you can do with the human voice, the female voice in this case. And it is just not the thing you can find anywhere else. And this one goes definitely beyond the vocal part that you can get, because you have those rhythm patterns and you have those chanting patterns and the pads combined of two sources and those micro sample concepts that can inspire you big time. Welcome to my Bought and Trade review series. Today I'm going to review Fever Dreams, which is a vocal sample library by Ari Mason, Grammy certified artist. My name is Daniel Stawczyk, and here is the list of some developers and producers I've been working with. I have been a sound designer for 17 years or more, and I like telling people that this is almost 20 because it sounds better. Sure, it sounds better. Always. Yeah, sure. Yeah. At the very beginning, I'd like to say that, yes, I have received a copy of Fever Dreams from Ari, and I feel honored. And this is going to be a review, but I am a sound designer, so who am I to review somebody else's effort? So what I'm going to do is to give green hearts, because that's the main color of Fever Dreams, for the things that I love. And I'm going to give this fruit from the GUI of Fever Dreams, which is fantastic, troubling, though, and it will represent the things that, well, I'm not saying I don't like them. I would say I would like to modify, and I'm going to call it fruit for thought. And please remember to subscribe and to like my channel for obvious reasons, because that will help me definitely to get some wider audience that I could share my passion with. And of course, don't forget, 10% off. Use that code below. It will help you to get Fever Dreams cheaper, and it says Stawczyk10. And yes, that is how you should pronounce my surname. And I know. When you purchase Fever Dreams, you get 7.8 GB Kontakt library full of unique vocal samples. There is over 100 pitched, unpitched, rhythmic and sustained patches, and the rhythmic patches are tempo sync with your DAW. Fever Dreams works with full version of Kontakt 6.8 and above, and a free Kontakt player, and of course it is NKS compatible. There is gorgeous and intuitively crafted GUI design, and of course it is suitable for all experience levels. The library offers extensive breathing patterns and vocal percussion patches as well. The subcategory that actually demands mentioning is 3 unique chants with 7 sung patterns each. There is synthetic legato and keyswitch patches available for chants, meaning it was not recorded from note to note. And when it comes to KS switching, if you prefer composing this way, that is up to you. Usually it sells for $150, but if you use the code Stawczyk10, it gives you 10% off. Bought and Trade. Okay, so here it is, Fever Dreams. We have everything in front of us, amazing artwork that I am going to discuss a little bit later, but the first thing as a creator, and since this is a subjective review of a sound designer, the first thing that caught my eye was this very small yet very visible button and the name Bespoke that I'm going to click right now. And what we learn is that Fever Dreams celebrates the extraordinarily unusual abilities of the human voice. If you have a specific sound in mind other than the other ones shared here, feel free to contact Ari Mason, the creator and voice behind Fever Dreams, to book a bespoke remote session at, and we have email address. Isn't that amazing? I've been doing sound designing for many years. I have never been blessed with such a thing that my name appears at the very front. Of course, there are sound banks with my name. You just load them into the instrument and that is it. I would like to have such a thing, and probably I would do exactly the same. So the huge green heart for that. Let us close this, and then I'm trying to click this Fever Dream by Ari Mason. I guess this is just the name, but this button seems to be active, so let's click that. And we learned the Fever Dreams was created by the vocalist and viola, the gamba player Ari Mason. For more information, visit feveraudio.com. Oh yes, let's go there. So here we are. This is the home side of the product. Color is kind of nice. It is green, absolutely connected with the layout of the bank. When we scroll down, we learn a few facts about the bank itself. It is not the thing for now, because we are going to skip to that later. What I would like to do right now is to dive in here and to learn who Ari actually is. I'm sorry, Ari, I know the review is not about you, it's about the product. But first we need to learn who you are, and then the whole picture will make sense. So when we scroll down, we learn that she's a creator, distributor of Fever Dreams, she's a vocal soloist and viola, the gamba player for film, television and video games, as well as a producer of her own albums for over a decade. Over a decade makes sense for now, and then when we scroll down, this is the thing that actually caught my eye. Listen to that. For years, I have been adding my improvisations, unique timbres, rhythmic textures, text settings in ancient and invented languages. And actually, let us stop here. This is kind of important because in Fever Dreams, we will learn that the chants category, we have open syllable chanting, and the language does not come from any corners of the world. It is just an invented one, which makes it a very unique, a very original. And the second fact, just next to it, we learned that there is overtone singing. Eric has been fascinated in. The point is, there is a lot of overtone singing in Fever Dreams. Let us go further and more to composers' scores, including the scores for Grammy winning. And she's a Grammy certified artist. And we have the name of the game that I can hardly pronounce, the other one, and the third one I can call at least Planet Earth 3. I hope, and the Fortnite that everybody plays. So this is the first fact that we learned, that actually she uses her passion to create Fever Dreams. And now she asks us kindly to visit her website. So let's go there. Okay, here we are. And when we scroll down, let's scroll to the very bottom. We learned that this is 2019. At some point, I understand Ari decided to share her passion and her talent with the world. So it's 6 years back. Okay, when we scroll up, okay, in a moment I'll make my point. So sorry for that. But again, when we scroll up, let's take this monocled cobra and let's have a listen from over here. Okay, I don't know what you heard, but I have heard Ari and her voice and the rhythm and actually the things that we can find in Fever Dreams set. So, okay, let's have a look at that. It's an Emmy-nominated score, and you have this piece and you have this set actually having the same techniques she used in this track. Okay, fine. If it isn't enough, let's click here. We learn there's a Spotify playlist. It opens slowly, but it does. And then we can learn that her favorite tracks she has sang, played on for films, TV, and video games. And the playlist is for almost 3 hours. And additionally, you can learn on the left that I am Michael Jackson fan. So let's come back to her site. And there is this link of IMDb. Let's skip to that. Okay, this is something truly fantastic because I don't have IMDb account. For the people who don't know what IMDb is, first of all, I feel sorry for them. The second of all is the biggest catalog of everything that is happening in the movie industry. And not only. And we have Ari. And when we scroll down a bit, we learned actually this year she's credited for 4 episodes of Scorsese. I guess it's kind of a TV series, and she's a musician. And we go down over here and even further. We learned that this is 2017 when she's uncredited, but she's a singer in Fortnite game that everybody knows and everybody plays. So it's even earlier than she stated her first achievement on her home site, 2019. Let us come back here on the homepage. And why am I doing this? I'm going to show you why the Fever Dreams got to exist, because there must have been the reason beside that. Because in some of her interviews, she even said that while working with certain and plenty of producers, from time to time she presented her own ideas of how to use and how to modify the voice in a special way. She can only do that. And although she kind of liked probably the technique, for some reasons obvious for the project, they could not find the proper spot, the place for that particular articulation. And for so many years in my head, I would be simply putting ideas into the drawer, so to speak, and there had to be the moment. And I realized, okay, let's show it to the world. let's show the things that I wasn't able to sneak in other projects, and this is how Fever Dreams came to realize. So, Fever Dreams, huh? I must admit that before, I hadn't even known that such a phrase, Fever Dreams, even existed at that time. So I looked it up and I learned that this is kind of a nightmarish dream that we have when having fever. So officially when your body temperature reaches over 37 Celsius, I have no idea how much it could be in Fahrenheit. What I'm trying to say is that when I have a fever, my dreams are not as peaceful or as calm as these ones presented in this particular artwork. I mean, I envy Ari that this is the representation of her fever dreams. Well, actually, I must admit that when it comes to this creature over here, kind of a snake head coming out of some creature's body, yes, it could have happened in my dreams, and probably would be like hundreds of those crawling into my bed or out of it. And we have these huge eyes of the owls, and maybe they were not the owls, but entities having the eyes the size like that. And at the top we have flying fish and some kind of blueberry with legs. And if you haven't noticed, look at that, we have a duck's face, I guess. The point is, the artwork is fantastic. We learned that actually she did it herself, so as I have mentioned before, she's a woman of many talents. They do represent the light version of the dreams that you could have. And again, fever dreams. And I checked that on the internet. And this was a brilliant idea. And there is no other product within the music industry called like that. Fever Dreams, it is only either some medical lecture or the books on psychologies, but this product as a sample pack is one of the kind. So congratulations, very good name. So when you open, I'm going to call it instrument, because for me, at some point, it is not a vocal pack, vocal sample library. When you open the instrument and you open the browser of Kontakt itself, you have a whole list. And like this is okay, let's load the first one. And for now, I'd like to start analyzing from this browser, and we'll let you know in a moment why. So we have this I thing, it sounds like this. It is very nice. And then you have those three knobs, volume, attack, and release, which are kind of obvious, and I think the presence of attack and release makes this library an instrument instantly. When it comes to sound designer, you see those two things, you think about, okay, fine, so I can operate on the sound. This is not just a note on, note off thing. Then you have the key map switching. Usually it loads with key map 0, which is like that. It depends, of course, of the length of the patch and depends on the articulations, because at some point the higher, the worse quality it could get. So you have the key map shifting. When pressing, look what happens. You go up, you go down, and then you go up. The speed in this category that I will tell you in a moment, this category, the speed is off. So we are going to focus on the speed characteristics later with some other presets. But I have this nice idea. That's a brilliant idea. And this is I'm giving the green heart for that. When you just play the chord and you use the mod wheel, we have this intensity. Of course, you can learn it, MIDI learn, and you can choose some other controller. But in our case, let's lower that and look what happens. Okay, when we have it at the very bottom, then we skip or we change that into volume, so it speaks for itself. Dynamics changes, and there is a very crispy volume at the very top. I guess there's some filtering or some EQ applied originally, and it does a job. So when you come back to the mod wheel again, it sounds like this. Besides intensity that I think I have explained, we have the reverb that does not need an explanation. It's a nicely sounding reverb. I have some doubts about, it is great. true, but most of the creators and producers use their own stock products, stock or whatever plugins they have. When it comes to the voice blend, it doesn't make any sense when there's only one source here. So let us open the other one just to try that. And again, when opening, we realize that we have two buttons actually. So now let's talk about the instruments browser. So let's start from the left. We have two buttons to open its browser. So let's click this one. Okay, it does open. And you click this one. It does open again. So honestly, I don't see any point in placing those two things so close to each other, but when you look at the artwork itself, you realize that it's some kind of makes sense and it fits in here. Let's talk about the source B. When the source B loads, and again, you have a very nice layout of the library. I will going to talk about that in a moment. Automatically, it goes into key map shifting to the second position, like 2 octaves up. And of course, we can go, okay, we can go up, we can go down. And then you can change, okay, let's come back to up and let's go to down. And you have naturally your left hand. Actually, source B always gets into a key map shift 2. In many cases, the sources, both, they do not overlap, which is a perfect idea, at least in my case. The operations is the same. If you want, okay, let's switch it off. If you want, very nice clicking. Okay, maybe let's load something from the sustain and tremolo categories that I love. I'm sorry, let's bring it down. And again, to spice it up. And again, I'm giving my green heart for this intensity idea. And I think eventually, yes, let's give the green heart for the reverb concept, because later on in this review, you will learn that it is very handy when it comes to designing some textures and paths. It is not just dry. I mean, it gets its character. But let's come back to the source key. This voice blending slider does its job. Listen to that. Let's make those layers overlap, those sources overlap, and what we get? And with intensity working. So I guess the main concept of the GUI is explained. Let's talk about the speed a little bit. Board and Trade. You have been watching Board and Trade reviews, and please stay with me, because at the very end you will get some gift from me. So stay tuned. The speed option of this instrument, I will keep calling this instrument, gives fantastic possibilities, because when we have, okay, let's load some different from my favorite category. Let's make it patterns. Breathing 5. Okay, let's listen to that. And the magic starts when you go up, which is the double tempo. Or we can make half of it. Okay, so let's leave it like that, and then let's add. Now I have prepared the strobe lights, which is a nice patch as well, and listen to that. Okay, the speed is original. How about speeding this up maximum and then putting them all together, and listen to this. Okay, so let's lower the speed of the right one, source B, and let's spice it up on the left side. Okay, what about 75? And here 75. Oh, actually, I'm sorry, 1.5. This one I meant. A little bit of reverb. And let's check the blessing of intensity slider. Okay, let's lower this a bit. As you can see, okay, let's choose another pattern. It doesn't need to. Let's go to chant whispers, all right? Have a look at that. The speed is 1.5. Let's change that. And maximum here. Okay, I know it's getting pretty messy, but it's a fantastic inspiration. And it would be a great source for sound designing and creating your own rhythm patterns. And actually, Fever Dreams is a perfect to do so. Okay, so let us stay with these two rhythm patches that we have. Maybe let's separate them for a while to hear again what they sound like. Okay, I brought it to tempo 1, which is original speed, and let's check the other side on the right. Okay, let's put them together, and for the first time, I would like to give the food for thought, which is a fruit for thought idea. I promise I would not complain and I would not criticize this word, because who am I to do it? But actually, there is one thing that I miss. And again, let me call this thing an instrument. And at the very beginning, I praised the idea of attack and release, making this tool an instrument. And at the same time, why do we have only attack and release? Why don't we get at least a decay? Because when it comes to sustain, I will survive. I mean, I just keep the note on and we have sustain working. You cannot have everything, but still some decay thing would absolutely make my day. So this is definite fruit for thought that I'm giving right now. At the same time, I would like to show you a small gem that I have discovered. I mean, that's not the thing I have discovered, but I kind of found out how we could use the release for our own advantage. So let us firstly play source 1 the way it is. We don't need to change the tempo. And again, the speed I meant. And again, let's put the release very up. And I'm going just to press a little bit, and then you will see just the tail of the release. Of course, we achieve the same when keeping the key pressed. Okay, fine. And let's do at source B. Let's do the same one. I stayed with the same strobe lights, which I think is a brilliant patch. Let's do the same thing with the second one, and let's check out what we get. A different key. Oh, that's a good one. Okay, good. And now, if you love finger drumming, and you are great at that, you would get this pseudo delay effect that you did not expect at the very beginning. I'm sorry for my skills. I'm a very lousy finger drummer. But the point is, just listen and you will guess what I meant. You get fantastic pseudo delay effect, and if we change the speed, okay, maybe we'll not that get crazy. Okay, let's get that crazy. Why not? Okay, the same key. Okay, and again, different. Let's do something like this and like this, and different key. I hope you caught the concept, you caught the idea. With the long release, you get this fantastic pseudo delay effect, and you could really create great patterns. And when playing, I mean, if you have finger drumming skills and you can simply play perfectly to the rhythm, then you get fantastic thing. And this is, of course, my green heart huge award to this feature, because I don't think the creators knew what they were doing. And let me play for a while again. Maybe, okay, you know what? Let's change the patterns. Let us go with breathing 4. And for example, why pseudo kanako? And coming back to 1. Okay, let's listen. And let's play with the voice blend a bit. Okay, it can get messy, I know, but let's change here to minimum and here to maximum. Yeah, I know, I'm sorry, I have no finger drumming skills, but I'm pretty sure you know what I meant. And it's fantastic, and it is great. Okay, while we are discussing attack and release parameters, and still missing decay, I must confess, attack introduces something new. I mean, it can introduce something new. We have this ping preset from sustain and tremolo subcategory. It sounds great. And in this case, before I will try to explain how I use the attack for my advantage, I would switch definitely to volume control, because these presets, with the short attack, it is nice to have control over the volume. You know what I mean? But yeah, for the purpose of this presentation, I switched back to the modulation. Let's check if it's working as it does. And let's make a long attack out of the ping, because we remember the ping preset from this ping sound. I mean, this is how it came into existence, I presume. But when we make it longer, let's listen to that, and the longer release, what do we get? Or even longer, even longer. And let's make intensity so we can hear it more. Okay, since we have the blessing of a source B, let us mute the left one for a while. So I have prepared, the loaded vowels. And since we are here, the vowel sustain patches, this is the food, and this is the core of any vocal sample libraries. And this is not the person I would actually choose this particular Fever Dreams, although I like the product. And I don't think it was the aim, but what would it be without a typical, let's see what we have. We have vowels, R, E, and everything else. Somehow, okay, so for the starters, check what R sounds like. Okay, this sounds great. And let's do the same thing with this long attack, long release. Let's turn the source A on, and we get something like this. Well, I think it sounds great. And yes, green heart for the attack concept, because it helped me a lot to create this oncoming drone kind of patch. And again, we can play with voice blending. Yeah, this one, when we go into pink direction, is dimmed, and I must admit, I like it. Okay, let's yeah, I'm sorry, I forgot about the reverb. Let's check what we have in here. Wow, okay, I'm really sorry, I got carried away. I have just forgot there is this review to be finished. And my apologies for one more thing, because I promised that we would dive into the browser, plural. First of all, let's check, of course, the content of Fever Dreams. And we have two ways to do it. First, I'm going to show you what we have, and then I'm going to explain my confusions at some point. But this is in a moment. So first, both ways we can enter. Let's switch the source B off. I mean, if you click here, that's kind of obvious. Let's click it off. So we dive into source A. We have two ways to do that. I commented on this, and I still find it useless to have the same options so close to each other, but let's leave it. So we click here, and we have 5 subcategories then. In each one there are several presets, very funny names. We have Spring Break, ooh, Spring Break, ooh, B. In a moment we are going to listen to those. We have 6 monkeys. And then we have breaths and whispers. And again, all of them are rhythmic. And we have sustain and tremolo. This is the only subcategory that actually has no control over speed, because they are sustained. I don't know what kind of effects it could bring about. Maybe some kind of inventive ones, because some of them simply treble. I mean, they move. And we have chants, and about chants, I think we will talk more in a second. And at the very end, we have hums, which mostly are sustained patches as well. And since we are here, we have this very nice idea, close browse on selection. Usually when you choose the patch, it closes, but somehow or sometimes you have some doubts what to choose, and you don't know whether this is the one that you have wanted. So, for example, we have a humanity patch, and when I click that, the browser closes. But when I untick this one and I click humanity hat, it says open. It works. This, okay, let's open intensity. That sounds better. Okay, I don't like it. I mean, I love it, but still, so let's go to this one. Alright, so I don't need to open the browser every time I want. I just choose the proper patch. And if it's fine, I can close it with an X, or just click it here and close it. Anytime I load the next patch, the browser will close on its own, which is a nice idea. Maybe I should lower down both. Maybe leave the release for a while. And since we have this breathing pattern, let's listen to that. That's too fast. Let's listen to the slowest version of it. And coming back and clicking the browser itself, we learned that actually we have over 100 pitched, unpitched, rhythmic, and sustained patches. And this is what we find in here. And the confusion starts when I open the Kontakt browser. I look at the factory, how it is presented. It is presented alphabetically. And again, to get what we would like to, we have to scroll down and down and down and down and down, and it is mixing, and actually I have no idea where I am, because somehow we have this legato concept here. Sometimes we have this key switch concept here out of nowhere, whereas when diving into the instruments browser, everything is neatly organized. And do not worry, if you are in Chants, you will find the legatos under synthetic legato. That is not right, but it's more of a name. And again, we have Chants divided into 6 altogether. The K stands for key switching. So everything is clear and everything is really obvious. Whereas again, browsing here for the first time, I had no idea where I was. And I didn't know what category I was browsing. But after some time, of course, you can get used to things. And when we are going down, very down. Okay, yes, we realize that we have approached the things that we will not find in the browser of the instrument itself, and all the names start with this underline mark, indicating that those are extra patches created by Ari herself. This is what we learned from the advertising materials. And usually there are combinations of two layers with all the possible blessings of Fever Dreams offering us with intensity, voice blending and stuff. And there are 24 of those, which is quite a few. Most of them are pads, but some of them are patterns. And honestly, since when going up, I kind of understand, and even looking into the browser of instrument, kind of understand, knowing that monkey is in that particular category, so I guess it will be a rhythm. But over here, I have no idea what I'm facing. I have no idea what kind of preset I will get. Well, it loads, and what we get is... which is nice. Herds of Paradise. That is quite a name. Let's check what we have. So I have explained my confusions. If it's only me, just let me know in the comments. If you have some solutions to that, let me know again. Port and trade. Okay, let's talk about Chants and get into the browser. Okay, we are in sustain and tremolo. I mean, it is good. Look at the list. We have only 2 columns of presets, whereas entering Chants, we realize this is the richest subcategory in Fever Dreams. We have the 4 representatives at the very beginning having different names, and this is to represent what we are going to hear, whereas the majority, well, definitely 95% of the content here covers the word chant. I'm going to explain those in a moment, but let's start with the first one. Of course, we can change the speed. Let's check what it sounds like at the very bottom. Oh, the quality is fantastic. The quality of the preset is really great. There is one thing I've noticed when loading a new preset and you have this particular speed, actually does not change. Well, I guess there was some idea behind that, but what I'm trying to say is that somehow running the new preset, the tempo changes, especially in the chant category that I'm going to explain in a moment, it makes a huge difference. So for me, like loading every single preset, it gets into one, so you know the starting point, and then you can fiddle to your liking. But maybe it is just me. Chants in Fever Dreams is a real treat. We have quite a few presets. I'm not going to cover all of them because it is simply impossible. So let's listen to Chant 1 pattern. This language is not real. It is just an invented language for the purposes of Fever Dreams only, which is a perfect idea because it makes these particular presets very unique and very creative. So that's the first thing. The second thing shows when we enter the browser, and for the purpose of this part of the review, I'm going to keep this little guy in the right corner open. So we are going just to hear the representatives of each group of chants. When it comes to the instruments, I have just left a little bit of reverb, and all the other parameters over there are neutral. Even the speed is just number 1 to all of them. So we have heard chant number 1, so let's play it again. Okay, that's chant 1, and you can see 7 of those, and I will tell you why in a moment. We have chant 2, pattern 1. Okay, and we have chant 3, pattern 1 again. Of course, the quality is fantastic. It is brilliant, and the fact that this is an invented language opens many gates in composition. As if it weren't enough, you have whispers also. I think I will dial up intensity. So the reason that in Vivid Dreams we have 7 of chant 1, chant 2, and chant 3 is that pattern 1, in all of those are quarter notes, and that is why many presets reach 8 seconds in their length. Okay, let me remind you that I haven't changed the speed, it is still number 1. Pattern 2 is 8ths. Pattern 3 is dotted 8ths. And we can go with that forever to learn that pattern 7, those are triplets. Yeah, and that is why maybe I closed that for a while. And one of my concerns that you had before is when loading preset, and somehow earlier you decided to have the speed of 2, and you are loading pattern 7 from the chant category, and this is very troubling preset that you're getting. So let's come back to the browser. Okay, fine. So this is the explanation what we get when we change patterns from 1 to 7. It works in all of them. And we have another subcategory in Chants, actually subcategory, apparently. Pattern 2, because we have heard too much of pattern 1 already. Let's play with number 3, for example. And you can see that actually each key works independently, whereas when loading pattern 3 from the legato, we get legato. And this is fantastic. Ari herself explained that actually she was not recording. It is called synthetic legato, thanks to the blessing, I guess, of Kontakt's coding, the instrument itself, but we are getting fantastic results. Let's check, for example, chant 3, pattern 3 in the single mode. And in legato. And at the very end we have key switches category, which represents 6 things. Honestly, when I entered that for the first time, I mean, in the instrument browser, I got a little bit confused because my eyes saw the same things presented 2 times. Whereas I have this dash in the second chant 1, chant 2, and chant 3, and that stands for legato. So here we have presets in the sub category, whereas here we have the symbol saying that you have legatos. I'm not a huge fan of key switching. Let's check the first one. There are several reasons why I hardly use those. First of all, look at the keyboard. It says -2. In my studio, I have a MIDI controller with 88 keys, and honestly, I need to transpose up these things to reach for the key switching on the keyboard itself. So that is why what I'm going to do right now is just to use the mouse to do that, because it's definitely easy for me. Okay, and legatos. And again, key switches have this dash at the very end, the way the presets themselves have it. This is kind of information you can get used to. And again, when opening the browser of the Kontakt itself, it doesn't get chaotic, but there is this word legato and actually helps in browsing and recognizing what you have. However, again, Chant 2 whispers, Chant 3 key switches. Somehow those whispers accidentally appear between the names. I guess this is the issue of Kontakt's browser. If you know how to solve it, just leave it in the comments. I'd like to point out one more thing that actually I have discovered. That when we click, for example, Chant 1 pattern 1, it's mono. I mean, at least I hear it as mono, whereas its legato version gets nice spread in the stereo. However, when we enter Chant 1 pattern 2, its stereo and its legato counterpart is also stereo. And we could check all of those and realize that sometimes there are mono, sometimes they're stereo. I don't see the key, I don't see any concept behind that, so I think I will leave my symbol of fruit for thought. Although the quality of all the samples is brilliant, it's really fantastic and unique. I don't get why some of those are mono, some of those are stereo. Port and trade. And since we are in the chants category, before I dive into some aspects of the GUI that I would like to improve a bit, and again, it's not the complaint, it's just the concept and just a few ideas, I would like to say that actually Ari should think about releasing the chants as a soundtrack. If you have been listening to my review closely, you probably noticed that somehow automatically I used, instead of using vocal sample library, I used the soundtrack, because for me, especially this part should be released absolutely as the separate soundtrack. It would be very competitive in prices, it would be widely available, because not everybody uses, enjoys, appreciates Kontakt as an instrument, but when it comes to finger drumming, when it comes to using WAV files and other formats, that would be really competitive. I can understand that actually releasing a sample library, it's not the main source of income, but the main source actually Ari has been working on. It is a food for thought. I mean, this is not a fruit for thought, it is an actual food for thought. It would become widely popular, people would love it, and it would be widely available. And now let's come back to the GUI itself. And again, I love that from the very beginning. Let's come back to the some aspects of GUI that I mentioned I was kind of missing. I mean, I really appreciate it and still appreciate attack and release idea. But since we have those two parameters and we can work with, why couldn't we have the whole envelope? ADSR. I mean, decay, I was saying, I missed again. But having the full envelope would change the spectrum of practicality of that and the possibility of working with the sounds. Since Fever Dreams offer a huge library, perfect quality, perfect tempo sync, so why not to introduce those? And again, we are in chants category. Some of them last even for 8 seconds. So why isn't there, and again, this is not a complaint, this is the thing that I miss, because I've been working with many of libraries. I mean, not vocal libraries, but libraries as such. What about some slicing tool? Because if you wish it or not, I mean, you get the pattern, you get the loop, and you cannot dive into the middle. What about like in the middle of that? What about slicing? What about start and stop? What about mixing the syllables? It would really improve big time. I'm not complaining about lack of any modulation possibilities, but let us imagine there is this panorama possibility, and button to the right, to the left, that would make miracles. Another thing, many libraries of this kind offer random button. Of course, all the parameters modulations I've been mentioning probably would require a lot of work, a lot of coding. I'm not familiar with that. I have no idea how it works. Maybe I should. It would probably improve the pricing of the product. I don't think it would be a fortune, several bucks, but still. But how about having this random button? The library is so huge. So when pressing random, You have inspirations, you have different ideas that probably you haven't come across yet. I would link random possibilities with speed, with the release, intensity for sure, and the voice blending. And last but not least, I really adore the artwork, and I really cannot imagine that one person can come up with so many ideas with the bang, the artwork. And I have said already that actually Ari must be the person of many talents. But what about, okay, just the example. We are moving intensity slider. Okay, and this thing that I'm really scared of, I'm talking about this snake-like thing at the bottom, it moves, it opens the jaw. What about moving reverb and the eyes of the owl are getting bigger? I have no idea how to code that, but there are many libraries that present this very simple yet highly valuable add-on to make the product more attractive. And again, it is just me. So at the very end of the review, let's talk about my favorites. I mean, all the bang is fantastic. But when we go into, oh yes, Calls of the Wild, I love all the presets over here, especially this melody-inspiring Rainforest Ritual Major Third. And the next patch will be its loop version. Just listen how they differ. And it is in major, whereas in minor we have the same option. This looping idea is brilliant. And the Spring Break. I don't know why Spring Break is Fever Dreams. Is it kind of a nightmare? I don't know for who, for young people or for hotel manager the next morning, but let's check it. And again, let's do some release to its maximum. Yeah, again, still my finger drumming is the very bottom, but you can do some experimenting with those. And the monkeys. And in the breaths and whispers category, we learn actually that we have chants number 1, number 2, and 3, which are again in the chants category. I don't see the points of doubling that in the browser. Somebody did apparently. But let's have a look at controversial category Whispers of Love, PG-13, and Ari herself advised to use those reasonably. So let us use those reasonably. No, there are no Whispers of Love. Please, don't be. Okay, Whispers of Love now. Okay, if we dial up and the release. You see this release? This release blessing is fantastic. Let's go back to original. Okay, we don't have time, people. We don't have time to listen to all of those. Yes, at least let's have a listen to this one. Kind of too fast, but this. You know what? At the very end of the review, let's combine that with some other, with two and a hi-hat. Overlap them. Okay, let's match the tempo. 4. And with a long release, let us improvise. So I love it. I love it. And actually, I have no idea how Ari came up with all those names of the presets. Oh, I'm sorry, we cannot ignore Meow Wow because I think that Ari is a cat lover. So we have to present that just for her. Alright, source be off. And a bit of reverb. Fantastic. And the naming is very original. Just love it. Yeah, okay, go. And of course, let's leave Green Heart over here. Yes, the naming. Port and trade. And there you have it. Fever Dreams by Ari Mason. Fantastic product. Great quality. I am recommending this 100%. Remember, there is this code StuffCheck10 and you can get the bag 10% off. Well, it's not a fortune, but still. And the promised gift. In the description below, you'll find the link, and also you'll find the video showcasing the presets. I have designed 20. There are pads, there are vivid pads, and there are also patterns, 20 altogether. I hope you will enjoy them. This is the gift from me to all registered users of Fever Dreams by Ari Mason. The presets focus on pads, mostly. I would call them even textures, and if you like them, please leave the comment. And I hope you have enjoyed my review in the series of Board and Raids. My name is Daniel Stawczyk. I've been a sound designer for 20 years. Board and Trade. Don't forget to subscribe and like the film, and remember, Stawczyk10, 10% off. Come on.